Welcome to Modern Migration Australia. I'm Filippo Pellegrino, and today we're going to answer a commonly asked question that we find on the internet, and that is, can visa holders leave Australia? So an interesting question, which actually will bring out some more questions, and we're going to deal with those for you right now. So the answer to this first question is yes. A visa holder, assuming there's no legal restriction on that person, can certainly leave Australia. But the bigger question really is, can you return to Australia on the same visa? This is probably the question that's actually in most people's minds. So the answer to this one is yes and no. So now this is where it gets to be a little bit complicated. So I'll give you an example. So a person is granted a visitor visa, and that visitor visa has what is called a single entry condition. So you're able to enter Australia, stay for the specified period of time and leave. Or you might stay for, just say you have a 3-month visa, you stay for 2 or 3 weeks and then you leave. Once you leave, your visa is extinguished. You cannot return on that visa because it's a single entry visa. Now, as another example, you might have a visitor visa that has 12 months and has a multiple entry condition. So again, you can leave Australia and you can return until that visa expires and its 12-month period has ended. So that's why we say yes and no. Now, it also gets a bit more tricky. Sometimes for people who might be on what we would call a bridging visa, and quite specifically what we would call a BVA, so a bridging visa A. So this person may have applied for a substantive visa whilst they're in Australia. They may have sought to extend their visa, and for whatever reason they've applied for a new visa in Australia. However, they decide that they need to leave Australia for whatever reason, and all they are doing is holding what is called a bridging visa A. You leave Australia on a bridging visa A, you can't return. Now, the problem there is that the visa you applied for may require you to be in Australia for your visa to be granted. So this is a real problem. So again, there is a way around it, and it's called a bridging visa B, but you need to apply for that before you leave Australia. So again, we're not being funny, it is a yes and no answer. The other issue is, if you may well hold a visa that has multiple entry, and then you leave Australia and for whatever reason, whilst you're overseas, the Department of Immigration, Citizenship and Multicultural Affairs, or the Department of Home Affairs may decide to cancel your visa. So you no longer have a visa to return. So that's the other issue. That's a little bit different, but that's certainly something to be concerned about. So this is probably the most important question. Can you return to Australia on the same visa? And again, as we've explained, it's yes and no. If you've got a permanent Australian visa, then the answer is yes, you can return, unless that visa is cancelled. So same thing if you have a student visa, these are multiple entry visas, and again, unless it's cancelled, you can return to Australia. So basically, unless you're subject to a cancellation or your visa is subject to a single entry requirement, then the answer is no, you can't return once you leave. So hopefully we've answered your question, the first one, and more importantly, hopefully the question that you were really thinking about, and we've done that for you in hopefully a fairly straightforward manner. So thank you again for watching, and we look forward to speaking with you again soon.